Hi, and welcome to Home Care This Week. So we often get people that come in and talk to us about noticing and recognizing that one of their loved ones may have an issue with dementia or Alzheimer's. And usually the first thing that people recognize and start to notice is repetition, repeating what someone has said, not understanding or listening to a conversation and kind of starting all over, that short-term memory kind of problem. Can be frustrating, but it is definitely an indicator that there might be something here that needs to be diagnosed. In one of our recent Alzheimer's Association presentations, we went through many of the things, the signs, etc., and we also talked a little bit about repetition and how to kind of deal with that and how to understand what people are going through and deal and put yourself into their reality. So here's a little segment of that presentation.
Repetition. Saying something over and over, repeating words, questions, or behaviors. Usually much more early people after they get it are dealing with this and going on this journey. Once you get into the middle stages, repetition, that's old hat, I've dealt with that for years. That's usually people, that's the first one, she's repeating herself, constantly, and I've already told you this, and get frustrated along those lines. So that is a kind of a little bit of an early stage. It's middle stages as well, but what we've usually found is by the time somebody's gotten to middle stages, the people around them and their families kind of are dealing with repetition. It's kind of old hat. But if you're dealing with somebody that hasn't been, associating with somebody with Alzheimer's, this could be one of the first most frustrating things, right? And what they're doing is they're taking and doing what they normally would do in a situation when somebody repeats them themselves, as they get frustrated. Okay? It is no different than any other behavior. Okay? Put yourself in their reality. Okay? Detect, connect, figure out what's going on, figure out what that trigger is. This isn't about you and your 30 years worth of argument about something. This has nothing to do with that. This is about a disease. And if somebody is repeating themselves, it's because they literally don't realize what's going on. So figure out and deal with that scenario and put yourselves into it. We had a couple come in here one time, and I think I've told this story where we had a little knee walker over there, one of those knee ones where if you hurt your foot, and she came in and that's kind of cool little toy deal here. What is that for? And I explained to her, if you've hurt your foot or whatever, you instead of crutches, you go on a little scooter deal. I can't keep my 14-year-old off of that thing. He's always, anytime he's in here and he's supposed to be helping me with stuff, he's like scootering around with this stupid thing. I keep telling him I have to sell it. And he's one of those I can't even sell anymore. I mean, he's used it so much like his scooter. Anyway, so she comes in and she asked about it, so we explained it to her, and then came in and got something and started walking, and she's with her husband, so he's just kind of listening as I'm talking. And then they come in and they start walking out, and she looks at the little scooter and she goes, "Oh, that's interesting, what is that?" So we've been dealing with, this is a client of ours, so we know husband just hasn't quite gotten on with the program. And one of my case managers, she kind of goes like this. I'm not saying any names, I don't want to give you any names, but Joe, we'll call him Joe. He just starts, you could just kind of see it kind of like a volcano coming out of him, right? And exactly, he just explained, I know exactly that's what's coming out of him. My case manager has been dealing with this couple for a long time, knew exactly the two. She was like those sharks with the intervention, like, ding! She kind of bounced up and she's like, "Oh, that's what this is!" And she just like completely diffused it Joe was like, "Get out of my way!" Like, I'll explain it to her, and then and she just explained the same thing I explained again. He was kind of like, and then she's like, "Oh, okay, interesting." So she's explaining the exact same words, the exact same thing that we did the first time. She was happy. Joe was placated. By doing that, he kind of realized, and then they just kind of went on their merry way, went in the car, and went home.
Like, who cares?
Who the hell cares? I don't care, we could explain it to her 100 times. She loved it. She's like, that's really interesting. Again. We just went back to work and that was it. It all was fine. But you could just tell, if she hadn't been there, Joe and her would have been screaming about it all the way back to the car and all the way back home. Does everybody get the difference? Repetition can be the kind of that first one, and I think it's one of those that, if you can get past that and deal with their reality on the repetition. A lot of these other things, they're harder and they're more emotional, but you can, you got some practice there that you've worked on.